Southern California. The rain is on the way, but that could be some bad news as well.
And as we've been telling you all morning, the shuttle Discovery coming home. We're standing by for the landing, which is going to happen in just a few minutes. We're bringing that to you and much more ahead on This American Morning. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Soledad O'Brien.
And I'm Miles O'Brien. Thanks for being with us. We start with rockets landing in Haifa, Israel this morning. Sirens heard there several times, both before and after we saw the strike. CNN's Paula Hancock's live now from Haifa with the latest. Paula.
Hello, Miles. Well, it has been a very busy few hours. There have been a tremendous amount of rockets hitting Haifa and around Haifa. This is the third largest city in Israel. Now, we know there also have been barrages of rockets hitting other northern Israeli towns. At this point, we know that part of one building has collapsed in Haifa, where one of those rockets landed. We know half of the building collapsed and part of it caught on fire. We understand at least 2 people have been injured in that particular rocket attack. But the other rocket attacks, as far as we know, have not resulted in any casualties. Many of them have actually been landing in the sea. Now, you can see where these rockets are coming from. This is north that we're pointing towards now, and Lebanon is about 25 miles or 40 kilometers away, and this is where the majority of the rockets have been arriving from. We know also that, usually at this time of year and this time last week, this place would have been absolutely heaving. It's a seaside resort. The port would have been full of boats, but at the moment, you're really only seeing gunships patrolling the sea and that bay alongside, and also going alongside Lebanon. Miles.
Paula, you can't help but get the impression that because these are sort of inaccurate rockets, that whoever is firing them on the other side of the border is kind of, by trial and error, homing in on their desired target. Do you have the sense that there must be a lot of concern that more are on the way?
That's right, yes. We did have a barrage of rockets, and then only about 20 minutes later we had another siren and a barrage of rockets. Now, those sirens are supposed to give you a minute warning for the residents of Haifa and other northern Israeli towns to get inside, to get into bomb shelters. Although, to be honest, I can't see a single person on the street at the moment, bar the journalists, so everybody is inside already. So what the Israelis are doing as well is making sure they have a censorship that we can't show live pictures to be able to show exactly where these rockets are hitting, because the military, understandably, is very worried that Hezbollah will be able to target a particular area, see where it lands, and then be able to home in. Now, everyone is assuming in the military that they are trying to hit military targets, and there are in a place like Haifa many military targets, as it is the third biggest city in Haifa. So yes, everybody is expecting more rockets. The Israeli military says they are carrying out airstrikes to target these rocket launchers, and as soon as rockets are launched, they try and home in on the rocket launchers themselves to try and destroy that. But at this point, it doesn't appear to be working too well. Miles?
So just to be clear with our viewers then, we're not showing live pictures of these strikes because out of fear that those same pictures would be viewed in southern Lebanon and could be used by Hezbollah.
That's right. It's a censorship issue. They don't want the live pictures to be shown of rockets incoming and then landing in a particular area of Haifa, because then whoever's firing these rockets will know exactly if they direct their rocket launcher in that particular area where it will hit. And the Israeli military is very worried that they will be able to home in on particular targets. And at the moment, they do seem fairly random. This is what's scaring most of the people up here in Israel, the fact that these rockets appear very inaccurate, and it is so random when and where they actually hit. Miles?
Paula Hancock's in Haifa. Thank you very much. Soledad.
Escalation in Lebanon. Word that Israeli troops crossed the border for a targeted operation. Not long ago, we heard celebratory gunfire in Beirut as well. All that's happening where Alessio Vinci is standing by with more for us. Alessio, good morning again.
And good morning to you, Soledad. Those celebratory gunfire, because Lebanese television, as well as many Arab television networks here, have been reporting for the last 2 hours or so that an Israeli F-16 jet had been downed, and showing pictures of debris falling off the sky. The Israeli Defense Forces denying that one of its jets had been shut down. As a matter of fact, we're hearing reports also that it could be either a missile or an unmanned drone that had been hit. That said, in the streets of Beirut today, not just in the southern parts of the capital where Hezbollah support is strong, but throughout this town, including very close to the bureau here, thousands of people shooting their guns in the air, perhaps in a way that only in this part of the world they do, basically to celebrate what they deem as being positive news. But again, no confirmation, at least from the Israelis, that they have indeed lost a plane. Also reports this morning that the Israeli ground forces have entered into southern Lebanon. The Israeli Defense Minister Amir Peretz confirming that the Israeli forces are trying to create a buffer zone in southern Lebanon, that a small unit has entered briefly the southern Lebanon in order to attack a couple of Hezbollah positions, but that right now there are no ground forces in southern Lebanon, that unit only carried out its operation and then returned back to Israel. And then, of course, airstrikes throughout the night and throughout the morning here in Lebanon. It was hit not just the capital, Beirut, and the port, but also an army base up in the north, about 80 kilometers or 50 miles north from here. It is the first time that the Israeli military has attacked a Lebanese army barracks. We understand there 6 soldiers killed and 28 wounded. Back to you, Soledad.
Alessio Vinci for us this morning. Alessio, thanks for the update. Talk of a ceasefire is coming from several directions outside of Lebanon and Israel this morning. Is a diplomatic solution a possibility? Let's get right to Paula Newton. She's live for us in Jerusalem this morning. Paula, good morning.
Good morning. Certainly the United States, Europe, many moderate Arab countries would like to see a solution to this, but it doesn't look likely until at least the end of the week. It's a two-pronged approach here right now. The first thing is, how do you stop the fighting? And that seems to be some type of a European approach that would see the 2 Israeli soldiers now being held by Hezbollah turned over to the Lebanese government, and in turn then turned over to the Red Cross. These are only ideas at this stage. In the meantime, Israel will continue with its aerial bombardment. The first thing is, how do you get Israel to stop that, even though they say they are determined to break Hezbollah? And to coincide with that diplomatic activity later in the week, they feel, the Israeli Defense Forces feel, that pretty much by the end of the week or the weekend, they will have cut out 50 to 60% of Hezbollah's capability. In the meantime, Soledad, though, the other approach is, what do you do then once you have a ceasefire? And the key here, and President Bush and certainly British Prime Minister Tony Blair seem to have the same approach here, and that means getting some kind of a multinational force on the ground, UN-sponsored. Just to point out to everybody again, the UN is already on the ground in Lebanon. About 2,000 troops are there. But, you know, we're getting reports that they're finding it hard to protect their own safety in that corner of Lebanon right now. And they're pleading with Israel and with Hezbollah to make sure that their soldiers stay safe in that area. Soledad.
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot going on at a time when it's hard to make contact. I mean, one of the biggest problems has to be, Paula, that, you know, who do you negotiate with? Condoleezza Rice on her way to the area, but, you know, who is she going to sit down and really talk to?
And that's the problem, and that's why she's delaying her arrival here. Certainly, they have to make sure that there are enough partners on all sides to reach out to. The key thing here now, Soledad, is to see some kind of capitulation on the side of Hezbollah, to say, look, yes, we will talk. Yes, we will hand over the soldiers. Something, anything, to give diplomacy a chance here. But I think we're still several days away from that, Soledad.
Paula Newton for us this morning. Paula, thanks. Miles?
First the fires, and now the worry about the floods. Rain is in the forecast in Southern California, where those 2 huge wildfires have now merged and eaten up more than 80,000 acres of tinder dry land. The concern is that rain will lead to mudslides now. CNN's Sumi Das, live now from Morongo Valley, California. Sumi.
Good morning to you, Miles. Well, crews here at this command center are preparing to begin their 12-hour shift. These firefighters may have a little help battling the blazes today. Thunderstorms have been predicted. There's a chance of them later this afternoon. We spoke to a National Weather Service meteorologist who said that there's a 40% chance, and he thinks he may increase that to an 80% chance. The rain, of course, is welcome, provided there isn't too much of it that falls within a short period of time, and provided it doesn't cause flash flash floods. What's not welcome is lightning and, of course, erratic winds. The lightning is how these fires got started in the first place. Now, the Sawtooth fire is 70% contained. The Millard fire is 20% contained. Those two fires merged on Friday, but they're still being treated as separate incidents because they cover such a large area. Also, there's a portion of the Sawtooth complex, 800 acres in the northwest corner, that has been split off. That's called the Heart Zone. That's being treated as a third fire, and that is where firefighters are going to focus their efforts today. This is an area that is difficult to access. It's steep terrain. There are no roads. It's very rugged terrain. I want to tell you a little bit about the damage that has been caused as a result of the Sawtooth fire. That is where we are seeing all of the damage. There are no structures that are threatened as a result of the Heart Zone and no structures that are threatened as a result of the Millard fire. 58 homes, 191 vehicles have been destroyed, and also there has been one fatality. The body of 57-year-old Jerry Guthrie was found late Saturday. He had been missing since Tuesday when he made a phone call to his wife from Pioneertown, his home in Pioneertown. Coroners have not yet confirmed the cause of death, but it's believed to be fire-related. Miles?
Sita and Sumi Das in Marengo Valley, California. Thank you very much. At least 20 are dead, dozens more injured after a tsunami smashed into a beach resort in Indonesia following a powerful underwater earthquake and at least 3 aftershocks reported after it. The 6-foot wave caused extensive damage to homes, restaurants, and hotels along Java Island. At least 40 other people are missing. Thousands of people are now fleeing the island's southern coast. Let's get to the forecast now. Chad Myers at the Weather Center. Hello, Chad.
I guess all we're interested right now, Miles, is the shuttle landing, and they're actually going to make a loop coming through here rather than come in and then turn in and go up from the south and from the southeast. They're actually going to make the loop go offshore, turn back around, and land right here because of this, because of the rain showers that are now offshore, the rain coming in. They don't want to land through the rain. It's like really going through a pressure washer. They don't want to have those ceramic tiles get cooled by that rain either. But there's the landing facility, the shuttle just a few minutes away. Miles?
All right, thank you very much, Chad Myers. Let's bring the shuttle home. We got a couple of people to help us out with that. CNN's John Zarella is right there along the shuttle landing facility there, the 15,000-foot landing strip. I could land my plane sideways on that thing. It's so big. And, of course, Eileen Collins in Houston. And I want to bring in some fantastic pictures we're seeing from the head-up display camera, which is stationed right in front of where the pilot sits. And Eileen, I'm hoping you can see this well. I want you to guide us through what we're seeing here. I believe on the left here, is that speed over on the left?
Okay, the speed is on the left.
Okay,
and
this is the altitude over here, right?
Altitude on the right, that's correct.
And what they're trying to do here, I want to call your attention to this. I've flown the simulator a couple times. Basically, there's a square there and a little kind of dot, and you want to line those two things up, right?
That's right. You've got a velocity vector, which looks like a little airplane, and you're flying, the pilot is flying that, the commander is flying it, to put it right over top of a guidance square. And if you can keep that airplane over the guidance square, that will keep you on the correct trajectory to make the landing.
All right, so it's just like a video game, right?
Well, a little bit, but you know what the crew's going through right now is a change in their weight. I mean, they were going from 0 weight to their, a little bit more than their normal weight. So this is very difficult for the commander to fly.
I believe it says 1.3 or 1.2 G there. That means just about what we'd feel on gravity here,
That's right.
But you are feeling that, I bet, right?
Yeah, 1 G is your normal weight. 1.1, 1.2 Gs is, it's about 20% greater than your normal weight. And you've got that helmet on, you've got the suit on. And now he's coming through the clouds here.
We're at 14,000 feet, 290 knots, and look at him. He's trying to, what he's doing there, watch how he tries to keep the airplane and the dot lined up. There you see the kind of electronic representation of the runway. Tell us what's going on in your mind right now, what you're trying to do.
Well, he wants to see the runway. He's ready to break out of the clouds, and it's going to be a big sigh of relief when that runway shows up, which should be here at about 11,000 feet. Okay, this is the ground camera that you're seeing.
So that means they've broken out of the clouds because they went to the ground camera, or this might be an air-to-air shot. I'm not quite sure, but they were just about to come through the clouds and they switched to this shot. Now he's got a view of the runway. And I want to remind people, we're talking about something that is on the order of 15 to 20 times steeper than a commercial airline landing, right?
That's right. It's about a 20-degree glide slope, and at 2,000 feet, he's going to start a pre-flare maneuver. He'll very gently bring the nose of the shuttle up, and the pilot, Mark Kelly, will drop the gear, and we're shooting for a landing at about just over 200 knots.
Yeah, it's it looks a little murky there. They had a high cloud deck, but it's still perfectly good weather for landing there. Okay, so now We're at 2,200 feet at about 300 knots. What's he doing now? Here he is in the flare, right?
This is the pre-flare maneuver. You see those two triangles to the right and left of his guidance. He has to pull up the nose and follow those triangles. And of course, he's looking at the runway. He's got lights called a ball bar, and he's got to keep the red light on the white bar to stay on the inner glide slope.
Landing gear down. We got about 15 seconds to landing. You want that landing gear to work, don't you? Good thing it works every time, huh?
Landing gear, there's actually quite a bit of redundancy to get the gear down. If the primary system doesn't work, you have backups. Okay, and here he's looking down the runway, shooting for about 205 knots. Looking really good. Very smooth landing.
Oh, just greased it. This is now right now.
The drag chute.
And I remember the time I flew it in the simulator. You have to kind of push the control stick forward to get the nose down. If you don't do that, it'll slam down. And you want to make sure that nose goes down softly too, right?
That's right. Touchdown at 205, and then at 185 knots, the commander will just make a very gentle input into the stick to bring the nose gear down. And you want to keep that structural load low on the nose gear. And it looks like he did a really nice job here.
John Zarella, you're right there. You heard the sonic booms. You saw it just come in. What's it looking like there to you?
Yeah, Miles, we did, and we didn't get a good look at it until the very last minute because of that low deck of clouds. We heard that double sonic boom, and in fact, a few minutes before that, Miles, before the touchdown, there were some folks on the other side of the runway firing off compression guns to chase the birds away, which, of course, is always a big concern, I'm sure. But, boy, that was picture perfect, just smooth coming in. But, yeah, we didn't catch it till about 45 seconds before actual touchdown because of that low cloud deck. Miles?
Yeah, that twin sonic boom, though, is quite a sound. It really does wake you up, doesn't it?
Yeah, no question about it. Everybody up here for a second was going, what was that? People who weren't familiar with it. But that was that twin sonic boom. About 3.5 minutes before touchdown, we heard that twin sonic boom.
Welcome back to Discovery, and congratulations on a great mission, expanding our knowledge and experience with orbiter repair and bringing the space station back to a full crew complement. We have no immediate deltas to post-landing, and we'll meet you on page 5-3.
All right, no immediate deltas. That means changes. Deltas mean changes in space talk. Let's listen to Steve Lindsay.
Enjoyed the entry and the landing, and we're going over to 5-3 now.
All business as Steve Lindsay, the commander, brings the Space Shuttle Discovery in after about a 4 million-plus mile journey to a nice, smooth landing there. Eileen, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give it?
Oh, this mission is easily a 10. They accomplished all their objectives plus more, a very safe launch and return, and I'm very happy the shuttle program's back on track, and we're going to hopefully fly another 16 missions before the shuttle program is over.
I was asking you about Steve Lindsay's landing, but he is an Air Force colonel, so you have to give him a 10, right?
He definitely got a 10.
Yeah. What, as you think about this aggressive schedule that lies ahead, Eileen, Discovery, for example, needs to be ready as that backup rescue craft for the next launch at the end of August.
That's
right. It's going to take a lot of work to get it ready, and then, of course, get Atlantis launched and off to the space station in time.
That's right. In fact, Discovery not only will back up Atlantis at the end of August, but it'll also fly the next mission in December. So hopefully 2 missions by the end of this year, and then a total of 15 missions to the space station before the end of the program, and possibly a mission to the Hubble Space Telescope, and we're still waiting for a decision on that.
Well, you know, I think this mission did an awful lot toward bringing that to a decision that would make a lot of astronomers happy. I think the chances are probably pretty good you'll see a Hubble repair mission. I bet you'd like to sign up for that one if you could. Hey, let me ask you this, as we look at a replay of this, what, right now, inside, what is the crew just positively euphoric?
I would say the crew is very focused. I mean, you're going through a lot of physical changes right now. I mean, you're very heavy. I would imagine the crew in the mid-deck is unstrapping, and they really need to get moving right away. If you just sit there, you're not going to feel very good. You need to get out of your seat. You need to start moving around. Of course, the commander and pilot have to stay in their seats because they have a lot of switch throws. They have to secure the system, shut down the auxiliary power units. They need to stay cool. It is cool in the morning in Florida, but you're going to start heating up with the sun shining into the cockpit. So they need to be very focused on their physical health, get out of the seat as soon as they can, and hopefully we'll see them do a walk around here in another hour or so.
You know, the interesting thing, we'll see them in about an hour, and it's interesting to me, the actual peak heating for the aluminum frame of the space shuttle occurs about now. There's kind of a lag built in. So as you sit there, one of the first things they do is that convoy crew comes up there is they'll attach some cooling duct work on the tail end there to keep it nice and cool, because it actually builds up heat over time. As you're sitting there, are you feeling that heat at all?
No, you really don't feel the heat from the shuttle inside the cockpit. The heat that the crew is going to feel is it's the greenhouse effect from the sun shining through the windows into the cockpit. But as you're saying, Miles, the avionics, of course, the orbiter is still hot on the outside. The avionics are heating up. This convoy crew needs to hook up the cooling units, and the crew needs to start turning things off because you have a very limited amount of cooling in the shuttle, and in about 15 minutes or so, they're going to run out of cooling.
And so they're going to want to make sure they're staying on top of that checklist and get outside. Hey, let me ask you this. Did you ever feel kind of a little sick at the end of a mission, a little woozy?
Actually, I've always felt really good at the end of a mission. If anything, for me, it's adapting to space that's a little bit harder. Coming back to Earth, I feel very heavy, and I get very thirsty and very hungry. I actually feel pretty good, and it's good to be back to Mother Earth again.
Have you had some, without naming names, have you had some experiences where people didn't feel so great?
Well, some people don't feel great, and I think the reason isn't really coming back to Earth and being under the gravity. I think it's, as we talked about earlier, that fluid loading where we drink all that salt water about 1 hour before landing.
Yeah.
Sometimes that doesn't sit very well with the astronauts.
So it may not be the best thing for every astronaut to load up on those fluids of that salty solution there.
Well, I think what you got to do is you fly your second mission, you learn, well, maybe I need to drink a little bit more, maybe I need to drink a little bit less, but the salt water is important to keep the fluids to your brain so you don't get lightheaded after the mission.
All right.
With gravity again.
As we look at the replay, Steve Lindsay keeping the little airplane lined up with the little ball just perfectly. All you kids who like video games, pay attention. You could be an astronaut someday. Because no, there's a little more to it than that. Stay in school, too. Eileen Collins, thanks for talking down the shuttle with us. John Zarella at the shuttle landing facility. We'll check back with you later. It's good to see this mission come to a successful conclusion. I got to tell you, I hold my breath every time these days. Thanks very much. So
wow, that was fun. I was holding my breath too.
Yeah.
But that was a perfect landing.
Yeah, he did well.
Wow, that was very, very nice. Nice to see. Nice to follow all morning. We continue to keep a close eye on the breaking news out of the Middle East this morning. Several rockets, apparently launched by Hezbollah, have now slammed into the Israeli city of Haifa. We're going to take you there live for the very latest. Those stories, much more, as we continue right here on American Morning. Stay with us.
I've been to Newark, Hackensack, 3 meetings back to back.
Conference in Maine, put faces to names.
Seminar, Lombard, big stack of business cards.
Stayed at Comfort Suites, got a hot breakfast free.
Warehouse inventory, Foreman had a funny story.
Big meeting, New Rochelle, told my boss all went well.
Everywhere, man, I've been everywhere.
To get 3 free nights at these Choice hotels, get the no annual fee Choice Privileges Visa credit card. For reservations and more details, visit choicehotels.com. Choice Hotels. We'll see you there.
Pop quiz. What compact sedan gets up to 34 miles per gallon, has more power and space than Corolla, and starts under $12,000? Is it A, the Kia Spectra, B, the Kia Spectra, C, the Kia Spectra, or D, all of the above? Correct! You picked the Kia Spectra, and with the 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty, there really is no other choice. Starts under $12,000 after cash back. The award-winning Kia Spectra, the best value on the road.
Will there be justice for the wife of a high-profile California defense attorney? Was her murder part of a satanic ritual?
Nancy Grace, Headline Prime, tonight, 8.
As a kid, I used technology to help people do better. Today, Scottrade does the same for online investors. If you've been thinking about moving your account, this is the perfect time to come to Scottrade. With powerful trading tools and fast, accurate $7 trades, Scottrade gives you more for your money.
You're going to love saving 13% over the phone company. Switch to Comcast Digital Voice and get unlimited local and long distance with 12 great calling features plus voicemail for just $39.95 a month. Comcast Digital Voice. It's Comcastic. Switch to Comcast Digital Voice risk-free and get all your Comcast services on one bill.
Sheryl Crow on her breast cancer and her breakup with Lance Armstrong. Larry King, 9 Eastern.
The TWA 800 explosion is still considered one of the most mysterious crashes in U.S. aviation history. After an exhaustive 4-year investigation, a fuel tank explosion was blamed for the crash. The conspiracy theories linger, though. Joining us this morning is former FBI Assistant Director and current Senior Advisor for Counterterrorism to Governor Pataki, James Kallstrom. Nice to see you. Thanks for talking with us. I know that this was your job for a long time and also had a big personal effect on you as well. You lost a very close friend in this crash. What was it like to be investigating the crash and mourning the death of a close friend all at the same time?
It was different. It was strange, and it made it very personal right off the bat. Of course, it became very personal anyway when you get to know the families and you get to relate to the victims and the kids and the teenagers, the French Club from Montoursville, Pennsylvania. You know, people with a whole lifetime ahead of them. The married couples, the grandparents, the happy people going to Paris for a good time. You know, it's just a tragedy.
Just a terrible tragedy. 10 years have gone by. It's almost hard to believe. It doesn't, in a way, doesn't seem that long.
You know, to me, it just seems like a couple of years ago. I mean, because it was the case that I'll always remember of all the thousands of things I was involved in. I think because of the tragedy, the fact that we all fly, right? We put ourselves, our families, our kids on airplanes, so we can relate to being on an airplane that has a catastrophic event like that. Awful, awful tragedy.
10 years later, why has the main recommendation, which is replace the oxygen tanks with nitrogen, why hasn't that been done?
Well, a lot of things have been done about inspections of the wiring and things. I think, 10 years ago, and I'm not an aviation expert, but I'm told that technology, to push the oxygen out of the tank was big, it weighed a lot, and it cost an awful lot of money. So you're talking about, not having 40 or 50 seats on an airplane. In an airplane industry that's teetering on bankruptcy every day. The good news, I think, today is that technology, from what I understand, is small, much more available, from a standpoint of how much it costs. And the Boeing company apparently is going to start putting it in all the new aircraft.
So theoretically, you could be close to putting it in, and yet the bigger question would be, well, you're going to retrofit. I mean, obviously, we have all the older planes that then would need the
I think the
technology.
good news is there's a lot of things other than that have been done by the industry, the FAA, the NTSB has made recommendations, inspecting the wires, for instance, those that you can see, which was never done as they extended the life of these airplanes.
Conspiracy theories and theorists ran rampant with this crash. Maybe more than in other crashes that we've seen, and it took a long time to come to some conclusion, which may have fueled that. But why do you think that was the case?
Well, I mean, we had P.S. Salinger, the press secretary to President Kennedy, for openers, standing up and waving a document that was the ramblings of someone on the internet for months, talking about the fact he had a report from French intelligence. That didn't sit too well with the French families, and people watching their television had to say to themselves, how could a U.S. senator, how could a press secretary of the president be saying such a thing?
They're very, what you might categorize as, in conspiracy theories, kind of crazy people, and then rational people, who went with the theory that a missile brought that plane down. Very rational.
Well, there are a lot of, absolutely, and I'm not discrediting all the people that still believe that. They have to believe it. I'm disappointed that we couldn't convince everybody, but we don't live in that type of a world. But we looked at every piece of this plane multiple times, multiple eyes, the best experts in the world, the best missile experts in the world, the best forensic scientists, the best metallurgists. We looked at a million pieces over and over again. Soledad, there was no evidence that it happened, so we ended up having to prove a negative. Then NTSB had to figure out, and they've come to, a much higher standard of their opinion of what happened recently, and it apparently was the high voltage jumping over to the low voltage and setting off one of those fuel probes that took this vaporized mixture and blew it up.
You mentioned that this is something I think everybody can relate to because, of course, we all travel. We all send our kids or travel with our kids on airplanes, and lay people really don't know kind of how it stays up in the air to a large degree. Are we safer flying today in the wake of this crash?
I think so. I think the things that were done made us safer. I would love to see this, oxygen get out of the tanks, this process of the nitrogen replacement. I think we're only a short time away from that. The question is, will we refit the older aircrafts quickly enough?
James Kellstrom is a former FBI assistant director. It's nice to have you. Thanks for talking with us.
Thank you. Nice to be with you.
Thank you. Miles?
Top story straight ahead, including the escalating crisis in the Middle East. The northern Israeli city of Haifa getting slammed by several rockets this morning. We'll take you there live ahead on America Morning.
Come on. Bingo. What are you doing this weekend? I'm in. I'm there.
Presenting Blue Sky from American Express, the travel card with no travel restrictions. Like to shop around and book the best deal? Blue Sky can make it even better. No matter how, where, or when you book, your everyday purchases can add up to hundreds of dollars off. Flights, hotels, rental cars, and more. There's no limit to the amount of points you can earn or redeem. With Blue Sky, there are no travel restrictions, no blackout dates, no annual fee, and you can pay over time.
Apply now by phone or online and get a special 0% introductory rate.
Start earning points. Call 1-877-4-BLUE-SKY to apply now.
Hey, so what'd you tell your boss?
Just that I needed some blue sky.
Blue Sky from American Express. You book the best deal, Blue Sky makes it better.
Joe's been my plumber for 6 years and was recently working on a drainage problem in my home. So I called him from work to let him know that I'd be a little late. Unfortunately, no one told Molly, my 3-year-old Papillon. Joe patiently paraded her up and down the street, sacrificing his time and dignity until her business was done. That's why he's the only plumber I'll ever use.
Visit Angie's List for thousands of unbiased reports from members in your area. Borrow some experience at Angie's List.
Hey, it's Sleeping Beauty.
Didn't sleep a wink.
I know, we've been waiting for you. Have the chess set already?
He cheats.
Hello, Honest Abe.
Whatever.
We just haven't played for so long.
I know, I just got all this stress at work.
It's cool, it happens to a lot of people.
Really?
Absolutely. More than half of adults report experiencing some kind of insomnia at least a few nights a week.
We just want you back.
Thanks, guys.
When you can't sleep, you can't dream. That's why there's Roserum, the first and only prescription sleep aid that in clinical studies shows no potential for abuse or dependence. Take it when you need it, stop when you don't. Your doctor can explain why Roserum is so different. Don't take Roserum if you're taking Luvox, fluvoxamine, or have severe liver problems. Avoid taking it with alcohol. Don't drive or operate machinery until you know how you'll react to Roserum. Roserum may affect some hormones. Consult your doctor about how this may affect you, or if your insomnia doesn't improve. Take Roserum right before bed. Side effects may include drowsiness, fatigue, and dizziness.
Just talk to your doctor.
Today.
Good morning to you. I'm Miles O'Brien.
And I'm Soledad O'Brien. We got breaking news out of the Middle East to get to this morning. New attacks in Beirut have killed as many as 14 people, and for the first time, the Lebanese army hit by Israel. Meanwhile, Hezbollah militants are striking back with rockets in Haifa. That's where we find CNN's Paula Hancock. She's standing by for us. Paula, good morning.
Hello, Soledad. Well, we've seen a tremendous amount of rockets in Haifa, Israel's third largest city, but very few of them have actually caused casualties. Now, we know around 30 rockets plus have been hitting northern Israel and Haifa itself this Monday through the day, and we've had many air sirens which basically give residents of Haifa and other towns a minute, in theory, to get into cover. But to be honest, there's hardly anybody on the streets for them to be able to get into cover. Now, we do understand that one building has been partially collapsed in one of the rocket attacks. And if we just look over to the north, this is where we're seeing the Lebanon border. It's very misty, so you can hardly see it, but about 25 miles in that direction is where these rockets are coming from. Now, as I say, many did land in the sea, but one hit a building. We understand at least 11 people have been injured in that particular attack. One of them was injured seriously. Part of that building caught fire after the attack itself. Now, we also know that a courtroom was also hit, but most people are not at work at the moment. So if shops, if restaurants, if courtrooms are hit, then there are no casualties because many people are just staying at home.
Paula Hancock has our report this morning. I'm taking a look at some of the videotape she's got in of just the street scene. You can see people sort of pressed against the buildings. Obviously, horribly fearful time for them. Paula, thanks. Miles?
One of the reasons the Middle East conflict remains, so intractable is the land they are fighting over is considered sacred to 3 religions at least, and that puts some historic places with deep meaning right in harm's way. CNN faith and values correspondent Delia Gallagher looks at what could be lost in all of this. Hello, Delia.
Hi, Miles.
You know, it's not called the Holy Land for nothing. The Middle East is the spiritual home of many of the world's religions, and many are watching these important landmarks that are also caught in the crossfire. It's almost impossible to bomb a town in the Middle East without hitting a piece of history. Israel, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, full of ruins and shrines, provide a foundation for many of the world's major religions. Byblos, the Mediterranean sea town where Israeli ships are now blockading Lebanon, is one of the oldest continuously inhabited cities in the world. Just 22 miles from Beirut, the city dates back to 7000 BC. The word Bible comes from Byblos. The papyrus on which the Bible was written is believed to have entered through this port, now under siege.
The number of religions and religious movements that have started not only in Lebanon and Israel, but even in places like Syria that may soon come under conflict. There are people all over the world who look here for their spiritual inspiration, and now they see bombs and bullets flying both ways.
The Israeli city of Haifa, where 2 missiles landed Thursday, is the worldwide headquarters of the Baha'i faith, founded in Persia in the 19th century. Mount Carmel, high above Haifa, is the site of the Jewish prophet Elijah's cave. Mount Carmel is also home to the Carmelites, a Roman Catholic monastic order of the 12th century that is still there today. Also hit by bombs was Zifat, or Safed, in Upper Galilee, the ancient home of Kabbalah, a mystical form of Judaism begun in the 16th century. The book of Genesis traces Noah's son and grandson to this area. Safed made headlines in modern times when Madonna, the pop singer, not the religious figure, visited in 2004. In the middle of the fighting in southern Lebanon is the town of Cana, the place where Jesus was said to have turned water into wine.
One of the things we see in other conflicts is that when something does get hit, people all over the world feel a personal connection. They see the images, but there's also a spiritual connection. So in the event that something goes horribly wrong and one of these religious sites does get hit, we can imagine the resonance of that is going to be much, much more than merely gunfire back and forth.
Now, I spoke this morning with representatives of the Franciscans and the Carmelite orders in Israel. They tell me no Christian churches have been directly hit, but at the monastery at Mount Carmel, which is on the hill overlooking Haifa, they felt the effects of just 3 more hits just as I was talking to them. But they said so far no damage to their property.
You know, obviously security is a concern here, but what can they do really to secure against something like this?
Well, there is no extra security for these sites, Miles. I mean, with the exception really of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, which is the church where they say Jesus' tomb was in Jerusalem, there's no extra security. The Israelis have some security around that, but in these other sites, there's no extra security, and the people that I talk to there say, you know, they're in this with everybody else, so they don't expect any extra security.
I mean, can we presume these sites are off limits as targets for all sides?
Well, presumably, of course, yes. They would not intend to hit them, but of course, they could easily become part of the collateral damage.
All right. Delia Gallagher, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Soledad.
Happening this morning, the Space Shuttle Discovery landed very smoothly at Cape Canaveral in Florida just about 20 minutes ago. It's the first landing at the Kennedy Space Center in 4 years and only the second shuttle mission since the Columbia disaster. Discovery spent 13 days in space. President Bush is on his way back to Washington, D.C. from the G8 summit in Russia, where the Mideast crisis was front and center. Before leaving today, world leaders began work on organizing an international force for Lebanon. Meanwhile, no immediate breakthrough on some of the other big issues like farm subsidies and industrial tariffs. A deadly end to an Oregon International Air Show. Oh, take a look at these pictures. A vintage British fighter jet slammed into a house in a crowded neighborhood yesterday. Then it burst into flames. The pilot was killed. An empty home was destroyed. Nobody on the ground was hurt. The New York doctor who is suspected of blowing up his Manhattan townhouse has died from his injuries. The Upper East Side building collapsed a week ago following that massive explosion. Authorities believe that Nicholas Bartha blew up the $6 million townhome rather than sell it. He was in the middle of a very bitter divorce settlement. Boston's Big Dig is going from bad to worse. Massachusetts Governor Mitt Romney says tests have revealed a systematic failure with the ceiling suspension system, and it could take months to repair. Another ramp was closed to traffic yesterday, nearly a week after a woman was crushed to death by falling concrete inside a tunnel. Firefighters in Southern California are hoping for the best, bracing for the worst, though. The 62,000-acre Sawtooth fire is now just about 70% contained. A smaller adjacent fire, about 20% contained. Thunderstorms in the forecast today could help some efforts. Lightning, though, could spark other fires. That's a big concern there.
Oh, we're having a heat wave, and no one is singing about it either. The thermometer could hit 100 today in Philly, 99 right here in New York City. I can hardly wait to get on the subway. Not. American Morning's Alina Cho. I'm here in my air-conditioned studio, hearkening down to you, where it is already what? Is it in the 90s already?
Oh, well, you know what? According to Chad Myers, it's 80 degrees in Central Park, Miles, but it feels like 90 at least. You know, the temperatures are climbing. The forecast for New York City is 99 degrees today, but it's going to feel like it's 105. In fact, it's going to be so oppressively hot that the city is opening up hundreds of cooling centers. Now, those are essentially air-conditioned rooms that people can go to try to beat the heat. Of course, New Yorkers are doing what they can to stay out of the heat, or not. Mark Hasmarzak is one of them. He is one of those who is not beating the heat. Look at what you're wearing here. Give me a sense of what you've got here. You got the flip-flops?
It's required beach wear when you're headed to the beach. You know, I got to do the flip-flops, the sunglasses, as little as possible, just to, you know, to stay cool.
The bathing suit underneath,
I have
which
the
you
bathing
won't
suit.
show us.
I won't show you, I promise.
Okay, well, you're one of the lucky ones. You've got the day off work today, so you're headed to the beach.
I am.
You're not worried about being too hot?
Well, you know, I'm going to position my towel and my chair so I can have my feet in the water and occasionally, you know, get cooled off naturally.
Okay. Now, you've been, you were born in New York,
Right.
but you've been away a while.
I have been.
It takes a little getting used to, though, doesn't it? I mean, this is pretty hot, even for New York
It
standards.
does. I was out in Oregon for 4 years, and you know they don't get the humidity. And the first summer I came back here, it took a couple weeks to get used to it.
Yeah.
But you know, you put up with it.
Yeah, you do put up
You do.
with it. You have to. You don't have a choice. Now, did I hear you say you've got tomorrow off too?
I'm embarrassed to admit that I have tomorrow off also. I work
right.
the weekend. How's that?
Okay, all right, okay, fair enough, fair enough. Mark Hasmarzak, thank you so much
Pleasure.
for joining. Have a great time at the beach. I know you got to get going pretty soon. You know, New York is just one of several cities across the country, particularly in the Midwest and the Northeast, that's going to be feeling the heat today, that could see record highs. Some basic advice, Miles, of course, try to stay out of the heat if you can. If you got the day off, go to the beach. Wear sunscreen, lots of it. Drink plenty of water. And you've been hearing this throughout the morning. Try to avoid strenuous activity during the sun's peak hours. That's between 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. And if all else fails, of course, it's not the beach, but right behind me is a fountain in New York's Columbus Circle right there. May not be able to take a dip, but you may be able to go in there and feel the water. Not sure if it's allowed, Miles.
Don't
but I may try to
encourage
do it.
anything that might be, upset the New York Police Department. Alina, I got to tell you something. You always look great. Always.
You flatter me.
But the long sleeves, you really aren't you going to get a little hot with that?
Well, I'm going to take it off as soon as I get inside the mall here. I've got a T-shirt on, but I thought I'd try to be a little professional for you.
No, you look like $1 million. All right, well, just stay cool. Stay cool. What-
2 quick points, I should say.
Yes.
First, today,
Yes.
Alina, is the birthday of the air conditioner, I'm being told, in my ear.
Really?
Happy birthday, air conditioner.
Who
How
invented the air
appropriate.
conditioner?
104 years old. I
Really?
don't have the slightest
Ratio
idea.
S air conditioner.
Rather, Wilvis Haviland Carrier.
Carrier, of course, Carrier.
Secondly, Alina, don't go anywhere near that fountain. When my kids would try to jump in, they'd stop you and say they put all kinds of chemicals in there. So people should not be splashing in the fountains on a hot day.
Oh, they did. They just tell you that. They don't really.
No,
make
it's kind of nasty. You don't want to go in.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah.
So,
Okay. All right. Good words to the wise there. Let's get a check of the forecast. Chad Myers, you wearing flip-flops and shorts?
You know, starting May 1st, when I get out of this suit, that's all there is. It's Key West formal for me. T-shirts,
Key West
shorts,
formal.
and flip-flops, right. 86 right now in New York. That's at LaGuardia. 86 in Dallas and 86 in Phoenix. So congratulations, New York. You've tied for the highest degree temperature now of the morning, at least for now. It is 83 Central Park, up a couple of degrees, 80 in Buffalo, and 79 in Cleveland. The humidity is up as well, so that 99 in New York is going to feel significantly warmer than that. This is just a do not day. Do not leave kids in the car. Do not leave pets in the car. Do not leave kids in the sunshine for too long. The temperatures you see are measured in the shade, in a box in the shade with ventilation through that. So if you're in the sunshine, it could be 15 degrees warmer than that because the heat index already making it feel like 105 later today, 102 in Dallas and 93 in Houston. It will be a hot one again tomorrow, but there'll be some relief in the afternoon as thunderstorms pop up for you in the Northeast. Back to you guys.
All right, Chad, thanks. Coming up this morning, a tragic oversight following one of the biggest recalls in U.S. history. We'll tell you why a mother is suing a tire maker after her son's deadly accident. Take a look at what's left of his car. That story and much more ahead on American Morning. We're back after this short break.
For each of us, there's a moment of discovery. We learn that life is elemental, and this knowledge changes everything. We look around and see the grandness of the scheme. Sodium bonding with chlorine, hydrogen bonding with oxygen. And in the dazzling brilliance of this knowledge, we may overlook the element not listed on the chart. The missing element is the human element. And when we add it to the equation, the chemistry changes. Potassium looks to bond with potential. Metals behave with hardened resolve. And hydrogen and oxygen form desire. The human element is the element of change. It is a way of seeing that gives us a way of touching. Issues, ambitions, lives. The human element. Nothing is more fundamental. Nothing more elemental.
My name is Leonard Ross. I was born in 1906.
The Dust Bowl, the Depression, and 2 world wars. That's just a few of the things Rosie Ross has seen in his lifetime. Through it all, he's had 2 great loves, music and his own independence.
If it's Friday, I'm playing at the Pinecone Inn.
Long-term care insurance from Genworth Financial can help you live on your own terms in your own home, receiving covered benefits where and when you choose. Genworth Financial, insurance for living, solutions for life.
Tonight at 8, millions of defective tires recalled, but some are still on the road today. Is your spare tire a time bomb? A potentially deadly oversight you need to know about. Tonight, 8 Eastern.
Sheryl Crow, her first primetime interview since her breast cancer diagnosis and her breakup with Lance Armstrong. CNN Tonight. Sheryl Crow opens up in an intense emotional hour. Larry King Live, tonight 9 Eastern, only on CNN.
Speed short throw gearbox, a sport-tuned suspension. Start making summer memories fast. The Mercedes-Benz Summer Event. See your local authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer for a great lease offer on a 2006 C230 sports sedan.
You might remember back when Firestone recalled millions of faulty tires. The tires were replaced, but not all of them. Some drivers overlooked their critical spare tire. CNN's Stu Griffin joins us from the CNN Center in Atlanta with more of the repercussions and ramifications of that. Drew, good morning.
Yeah, it's happening now, Soledad, a problem that should never be happening. These older Firestone tires still failing on some Ford SUVs in deadly rollovers because drivers overlooked them during one of the largest tire recalls ever. These are spare tires that few owners worry about until they actually use them.
6 years ago, Firestone recalled 6.5 million tires because they were vulnerable to sudden tread separations. The offer to replace those older Radial ATX and Wilderness tires still stands. But according to data from Firestone, as many as 200,000 of these tires were never turned in. One reason? Sean Kane, an auto safety consultant, says during the height of the recall, substitute tires were scarce.
Some folks brought their vehicles in, unbeknownst to them, the spare wasn't replaced. They didn't crawl under the vehicle to see if it was a new tire and if it was not a Firestone, for example. There's many, many circumstances why these tires ended up in the spare wells on Explorers.
The spare tire on an Explorer is attached to the underbelly of the vehicle. You can't even see the brand name without crawling underneath the car. Linda Scudera's 20-year-old son was killed 2 years ago when his 93 Ford Explorer flipped over near Miami. It was a used vehicle with 100,000 miles on it and 4 new tires. But just days before the accident, her son Anthony noticed a leak in one of those tires and replaced it with the spare he found under his vehicle. The spare was a recalled Firestone and took only 3 days to fall apart. Scudera, not wearing his seatbelt, was ejected and killed.
The treads peeled completely off the tire. My car went out of control. My son didn't even have a chance.
These are clearly classic scenarios. In the crashes we've seen, tires go on the vehicles within a short period of time. In one case, as soon as a couple of days, that tire suffers a catastrophic tread belt separation. The vehicle becomes uncontrollable and tends to roll over.
I don't want any other mother to go through what I went through. It's the worst thing in the world to bury your child. I had no idea how dangerous that tire was.
Linda Scudera is suing Firestone over her son's death. Firestone denies responsibility and blames her son. Firestone says it continues to reach out to anyone who still owns one of these tires made in the 1990s, the Firestone Radial ATX and Wilderness AT tires. A spokesperson says, bring them into a company-owned store and we will replace them, no questions asked, free of charge. It's in everyone's interest, she said, to get those tires off the road.
How many are out there? That's the big question, Soledad. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration decided to do just a random check of older Ford SUVs, workers crawling under SUVs. They found roughly 10% still had these outdated Firestone spare tires that should have been turned in a half a dozen years ago.
In other words, a whole heck of a lot are still out there. Drew Griffin, that's a scary report. Thanks, Drew. You can see Drew's full report tonight on Poll is On now at 8 p.m. Eastern. Miles?
CNN Live today is coming up next. Darren Kagan has that for us, and she will give us a preview right now. But you got to listen up, right? Hey, Darren.
Here I am. Morning, Miles. Morning. Coming up on Live today, new rocket attacks in northern Israel, but Beirut is still a target of Israeli missiles. The latest Mideast developments with live reports from across the region. And a brutal heat wave gripping much of the U.S. will show you the danger zones and give you tips on how to keep your cool. Join us at the top of the hour. Miles, back to you.
Thank you very much, Darren. Coming up, we're going to be minding your business. Want a sneak peek at TV's new fall lineup? Throw out the TV guide and check in your refrigerator instead. We'll explain that one ahead.
Why aren't middle-class wages going up? Why does it take two incomes just to get by?
Lou Dobbs tonight, CNN 6 Eastern.
Your fireplace adds so much to your home, and Gordon's can add even more. Gordon's Fireplace Shop and Home Decor. Selection second to none. Glass screens, fire accessories, high-efficiency natural gas fireplaces, plus home furnishings that will add to the warmth of your home. Portland's finest selection of fireplace screens, gas logs, and gas fireplaces on sale today. Everything for your fireplace. Gordon's Fireplace Shop and Home Decor. Open 7 days a week.
Would you travel to a faraway city for your family to take advantage of the latest diagnostic imaging technology? How far would you go to find experts who could provide the most precise information available? Would you go all the way to Baseline Imaging, the new outpatient center in Hillsborough? Baseline Imaging. We have the expertise. We have the technology.
Presenting Blue from American Express. The card with no annual fee and an introductory rate of 0% for up to 15 months with a low APR after. Call 1-800-600-BLUE or visit us online to get yours. You can pay over time, which makes this card remarkably flexible. It has a free rewards program with so many choices, it'll make your head spin. Plus, it has a fraud detection system which gives you extra security when you shop. All this with an introductory rate of 0% for up to 15 months and a low APR after. Call 1-800-600-BLUE or visit us online to apply. Blue from American Express.
Glenn Beck, tonight at 7 and 9 on Headline News Prime.
They may be after me now.
No, I'm after them. The bugs and the germs they carry. Ma'am, we're not allowed to have anyone in the truck.
Right. Thank you.
Protect your home. Protect your family. For help, call 800-800-ORCAN.
Still have an adjustable mortgage? Refinance now to a low fixed rate from Ditech.com. We'll also guarantee you the lowest rate and fee. At Ditech, refinancing is quick and easy, even if your credit is less than perfect. Log on or call 1-800-71-FIX.
All this news and bad news out of the Middle East, what's it going to do to oil prices? One can guess. It's not going to be good news. Carrie Lee's minding your business this morning. Good morning.
You know, it's been interesting, Soledad and Miles. We've seen a little bit of a seesaw regarding oil prices and the early market indications so far this morning. First of all, let's take a quick look at the Dow Jones Industrials, and you can see not such a bad day, up by 50 points. Stocks have reversed earlier losses in the pre-market session because oil prices have come down to about $76.25 a barrel. This lower than the record closing price of $77.03 we saw on Friday. And the reason for this turnaround, right around 8 a.m. Eastern, Iran, a report that Iran had accepted an incentive to resolve a dispute over its nuclear program. So with everything going on in the Middle East, that's at least a bit of good news when it comes to oil prices and so far stocks. So that is the latest on the markets. Now, here is an interesting story when it comes to advertising. And Miles, you'll probably like this one because there are a lot of puns involved. When you go...
She's got your number.
Really,
the shoe fits.
No service left unadvertised, or that's the way it might seem this fall. CBS is going to start etching some advertising on eggs. They're working with a company called Egg Fusion. So, for example, you open your refrigerator, you look to see if there are cracked egg in the grocery store. It'll say something like "Scramble to Win" on CBS, "Hard-Boiled Drama," or one relating to CSI, "Crack the Case" on CBS.
Or
so
extra good programming.
So many
on American Morning.
So many
Can we
puns.
get in on that idea?
So we'll see. We'll see if it takes off. They're starting this fall. They haven't actually done it yet.
Are you sure it's not a yoke?
The company that does this,
You set him up.
they
deserve that.
They actually laser etch the expiration dates on eggs. So now they're branching out, and you know, you look at the egg a couple of times, right? The grocery store, the refrigerator, crack it open in the morning,
and you
wide
say,
awake.
wow, why is anybody advertising on my egg? And then you put it down, or you crack it open and you make an omelet. Come on. No one reads. Oh, I want to save this for later. That's so ridiculous. Thank you, Carrie.
That was the story of the morning as far as I Coming up at the top of the hour, continuing live coverage of the fighting in the Middle East. We're going to check in with our correspondents throughout the region. Also, a beautiful, picture-perfect homecoming for the Space Shuttle Discovery. That's the first landing at the Kennedy Space Center in about 4 years, and it went well. We're going to recap the mission with former shuttle commander Eileen Collins. Live pictures now as the crew transport vehicle. There you see it there like you see at Dulles Airport, one of those vehicles that has the little scissors on it. Crew is getting on there right now, and we'll see them soon where they go around and kind of kick the tires and take a look at their vehicle after their 4 million mile journey. Stay with us.
Completing our 5.3 million mile mission to restore the internet.
Hello, I'm a Mac. And I'm a PC. And I'm a PC too. And what? Yeah, see, now you can run Mac OS 10 or Windows on a Mac. So in a way, I'm kind of like the only computer you'll ever need.
Wow, touche.
No, I don't think you're using that right.
Touche.
No, listen, see, you can only say touche if you make a point, then I make a counterpoint, you see? So I said I run Windows, but you haven't made a point yet. Let's try it again. You can get a Mac and still run all your Windows stuff.
Touche.
Never mind.
When it comes to good health, heart disease is a common enemy.
My mother has heart disease. Will I develop it too?
How can I prevent heart disease? Are there new medicines available?
For answers, ask your doctor or visit these websites. Researchers at America's pharmaceutical companies are working on 146 new medicines to fight heart disease and strokes, partnering with healthcare providers to better inform patients about treatment options. Go online and learn, because knowledge is the best medicine of all.
With a 5-star crash safety rating, the smooth-riding Mercedes-Benz M-Class is safe no matter where you sit. The Mercedes-Benz Summer Event. See your local authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer for a great lease offer on a 2006 ML350.
I hope I said that right. I'm Matt Tucker. Welcome to America.
Oh, your Chinese is cool.
I worked on it all morning.
Century 21.
It's back to school, and Best Buy's got what kids need to succeed. Like laptops with fingerprint scanners for extra security. Convertible notebooks that let you jot notes directly on the screen for new ways to learn. And Media Center computers that let you record, watch, and pause live TV. Check out the Gateway Convertible Notebook with dual-core technology. It's a perfect blend of performance and creativity. Save big for back to school, now at Best Buy.
Tonight on AC360, Anderson Cooper's live on the front lines of the crisis in the Middle East. Every angle from Haifa, Beirut, and across the troubled region as casualties and fears of a wider war grow. 360 tonight, 10 Eastern.
Tomorrow on American Morning, a special series. It's called Inside Autism. We're going to take a look at the possible causes of this disorder, show you how doctors are trying to treat it. That's tomorrow on American Morning.
That's all the time we have for this edition of American Morning. Darren Kagan is at the CNN Center to take you through the next couple of hours on CNN Live today. Hello, Darren.
Hello, good morning to you guys. You have a great day, a cool day in New York City. I'll send
not so cool.
I'll send
We'll do our
those cool
best.
thoughts to you. And we'll check in with you tomorrow. Let's get a lot to get to in the next 2 hours. Stay with CNN because things are changing by the moment in the Middle East crisis. Let's get up to speed with what we know right now. In the northern Israeli city of Haifa, several suspected Hezbollah rockets have hit over the last few hours. Our correspondent on the scene reports that a rocket struck a residential building. Israel is continuing its attacks against Hezbollah. Israeli bombs targeted a port in Beirut, and army barracks and areas in Beirut's southern suburbs were also hit. As the conflict intensifies, several countries, including the U.S., are evacuating their citizens from Lebanon. CNN's worldwide resources are fanned out across the region and on both sides of the conflict. Our correspondents are in Beirut, Lebanon, and Haifa, Israel, and they are watching tensions boil and violence escalate in Gaza. And getting out of Lebanon, we're looking at as well. Americans heading to Cyprus. You see that there in the middle of the Mediterranean Sea. Thousands of others are crossing the border into Syria. We will go live to both those places later this hour. Meanwhile, let's begin with our Paula Hancock. She is within the Israeli port city of Haifa. Paula, if you could put this in perspective for us, what the rocket action looks like today versus yesterday.
Well, Darren, the amount of rockets that have been coming into Haifa over the past few hours has been fairly substantial. We know well over 30 rockets have hit over northern Israel as a whole. Many other towns closer to the border have been hit as well. Now, this town of Haifa is, excuse me, the third largest in Israel. And it's about 25 miles south from the Lebanese border. We can see almost the Lebanese border. It's a bit misty today, but up in that direction is where these rockets have been coming from. Now, many of them have been landing in the sea, in this bay here, but some have hit residential areas. And we know that one destroyed half of a building. Much of that building set fire at the beginning. As soon as the rocket hit as well. We understand at least 11 people have been injured in that particular attack, one seriously. But for the majority of the other rockets, there has been very few casualties. Many people are not even coming out onto the streets. They're staying inside. The police are patrolling every now and then with loudspeakers telling people to go into bomb shelters after these sirens, which are supposed to give you a 1-minute warning, actually sound. So I think the fact is that the casualties on this side of the border are nothing like we are seeing on the Lebanese side. But yesterday, on Sunday, we did see the bloodiest Hezbollah attack on Israeli soil for more than a decade. Just behind me, there's a train depot just down the hill, and we were there on Sunday where we saw a rocket went through the ceiling and into a train depot where about 30 workers were working on trains at that time. 8 were killed, more than 20 were injured. So that particular attack was the bloodiest yet that Hezbollah has carried out here in more than a decade. Darren? And
Paula, so it's, we can watch with the clock up on the screen. It's late afternoon, early evening there in Haifa. Have the rocket attacks been worse during the day or at night?
Well, we woke up at 6 o'clock this morning to the siren when the first rocket actually happened, and then we know there was some late last night as well. There was a period of about 2 or 3 hours where there was every 5 minutes at one point, and then every 10 minutes. There's probably about 10 or 15 rockets. It's difficult to actually count them for exactly when they land in the sea. But in the middle of the day, early afternoon, there was a real barrage, and as well in Safed, which is very close to the border, and Tiberias as well, which was hit a couple of days ago. Now, we also know that earlier this morning there was one village just further south than Haifa that was hit. This is the furthest these rockets have landed so far. But the Israeli military is worried that these rockets, actually Hezbollah has longer range rockets that have been supplied by Iran. Darren?
Paula Hancock's live from Haifa, Israel. Thank you. Let's go live now to the United Nations U.S. Ambassador to the UN, John Bolton, at the microphone.
Iran. And secondly, when do you expect the team, the UN team, to return here?
Well, I think in the past 2 weeks, on behalf of the United States, I've given 3 statements in the Security Council that talk about the relationship between Iran, Syria, and Hezbollah and Hamas. So I think in any resolution or other Council action, we would be looking to implement those kinds of approaches in the text. We have been informed that in response to your second question, that the team should be back by the middle of this week. So our hope has been that perhaps by Thursday we could get a direct briefing in the Security Council from the staff delegation and decide where we go from there. That's also, I think, an appropriate time to begin to consider a step the Council itself might take. Let me just take one more here because I have to...
Why does the U.S. appear to be not interested, blocking reference or call for a ceasefire?
I think that the question of the legitimate exercise of self-defense, which the government of Israel is engaged in, is something that has to be considered very clearly. And I think before you get to ceasefire, you have to look at what the causes of the conflict are. I think you would have a ceasefire in a matter of nanoseconds if Hezbollah and Hamas would release their kidnapped victims and stop engaging in rocket attacks and other acts of terrorism against Israel. I'll be back after.
U.S. Ambassador to the UN, John Bolton, answering a few questions in advance of the UN Security Council having their meeting on what's happening in the Mideast. We'll have more on what's happening from the UN in just a little bit. But first, let's go back to the Mideast, where that escalating conflict is taking a heavy human toll. Lebanese security forces say at least 165 people have been killed in 6 days of cross-border fighting between Israel and Hezbollah. 415 others were wounded. Israeli military sources say 12 civilians and 12 soldiers have been killed and about 300 have been wounded. The damage and the tensions are mounting in Beirut as well. That's where we find our Alessio Vinci, who has spent the last several days in the Lebanese capital. He has the latest.
It's never easy to leave home, but Lara, mother of 3, knows her journey to the Syrian border is going to be a difficult one. Israeli jets have bombarded the road she's about to travel.
We're going to pass through many obstacles. It won't be easy.
Are you afraid for your children?
Yes, sure. It's a big responsibility.
Did you expect that this was going to happen?
At all. It was really a shock.
Lara is among those Lebanese with relatives abroad, able to pay $125 for a bus ride to the Syrian border. Thousands like her are fleeing under heavy shelling. There is fear, of course, but also disbelief at the thought that war has come again 15 years after a bloody civil war reduced the city to rubble.
It's the same movie occurring again, like 20 years ago. That's what I feel.
It's like a bad nightmare coming back?
Bad, terrible nightmare.
You really believed it was over?
We believed the war was over. No one was expecting that this will happen. No one.
Not everyone can or wants to leave. It's too expensive for many, too dangerous for people who have nowhere else to go. That rings especially true in the areas of southern Beirut, which have taken the brunt of the Israeli assault.
This is the area of Beirut that people are fleeing from. We are in the southern suburbs of the capital, a place that used to be populated heavily by Shia Muslims. And as you can see behind me, constant shelling by Israeli forces. This is the aftermath. We can still smell the burning rubble. This town is beginning to look like Beirut during the civil war.
It's a virtual ghost town. Israel says Hezbollah's leadership operates from here, making this a legitimate target. Civilians, though, are caught in the middle, forced to leave home in a hurry. Many find shelter in nearby schools, closed for the summer break. Among those who just arrived, Hassan, a biology teacher. It's a strange irony to go from being a teacher to being forced to sleep on a classroom floor, he says. School reopens in September. There is hope, of course. The classrooms will be available then.
And let's talk with our Alessio Vinci live now from Beirut. Alessio, what's the latest on Americans and others from other countries trying to get out and evacuate Lebanon?
Well, Darren, the latest as far as the Americans are concerned, we understand that the evacuation per se has not started yet. Two more U.S. helicopters have arrived here at the U.S. Embassy to bring in more personnel in order to facilitate that evacuation plan that has been worked out as we speak. Those two helicopters have left already Beirut, and we understand that there were some people on board, people with special medical needs that needed to be taken out of this country in an emergency situation, but no evacuations of U.S. citizens as of yet. What we do know, however, is that a French ferry has arrived here at Beirut's port, and we understand that some French nationals are beginning to board that ferry, and that within the next 12 to 24 hours that ferry will be leaving this country en route to Cyprus. We have a producer there on the ground at the port. There is no scenes of chaos, no great amount of the people trying to rush towards the ferry. Everything is very orderly or coordinated. There's a little bit of security, so it is a very orderly and controlled evacuation at this time.
Alessio,
Darren,
thank you, Alessio. Let's get more on what the U.S. military is doing to organize those evacuations of Americans from Lebanon and go to Barbara Starr at the Pentagon. Barbara, good morning.
Darren, good morning to you. The U.S. military is working towards the very same thing. They say a controlled and orderly departure of Americans from Lebanon. 25,000 Americans there. Not clear how many want to leave, but sources are saying that several hundred Americans now have registered with the embassy, made their intentions known, their locations known, that when the evacuation begins, they want to go. The military is putting the final pieces into place. Everyone should expect to see over the next 24 to 48 hours more of that emerge, more U.S. military assets arrive in the region. The plan now, of course, is to take people out either by air or possibly by sea over to Cyprus, where they can get commercial aircraft flights to their home countries or to their destinations. But all of this, Darren, moving very cautiously. A lot of people who are stranded, of course, are saying it's moving too slow, that they really want to go. But the military making the effort because they know it's a very serious situation. They want to go in. You know, it's an extraordinary thing to say U.S. troops going into Beirut, but they want to go in, pick up Americans, and get out very quickly. They don't want any trouble. They don't want to have to fire a shot. But our sources saying when the troops do go in to get the Americans, they will go with the complete ability to defend themselves. Darren?
Why is it taking so long to organize this?
Pardon me. It's clearly shaping up as a very complex operation that somewhat, of course, caught the military and State Department planners by surprise. They need to put things into place, they tell us. They need to get some ships into that section of the Mediterranean. That is still going to take a couple of days. Cyprus, a lot of diplomatic things to work through there. They're using the British air base there. And there isn't that much commercial air traffic in and out of Cyprus. So what they may have to do is begin to rapidly charter commercial airliners, charter them so the people that arrive can be picked up very quickly and taken on to their destinations. A lot of military planning going into this. When yesterday we saw the U.S. military team go into the embassy, that was really a key signal for everyone to watch. That team is just about the last thing that goes in the planning phase. They will establish all the secure communications at the embassy, and they are a real sign that things may start unfolding relatively soon.
All right, Barbara Starr at the Pentagon. Barbara, thank you. Frustrations and a four-letter word. President Bush shelves diplomacy in a candid moment at the G8. An open mic. We'll tell you what the president said. This is CNN, the most trusted name in news.
Success is real,
It shows. Introducing new Just for Men. Its new True Color formula targets only gray. Easy as shampooing. For a natural look that is real. Real to the eye. Real to the touch. Real where it counts. New True Color Just for Men.
30 years in this house. So many memories, huh?
Hey, you know what? Those, good to take with you.
Yeah.
See you in a couple of hours.
Bye-bye.
Hello, you two. I'm Nancy. Let me tell you the story of this amazing house.
Century 21.
What if your brother-in-law inspired millions and murdered thousands in the footsteps of bin Laden? Wednesday, August 23rd.
Our commitment is to be everything to everyone looking for a good night's sleep.
We have the best prices from entry level to ultra luxury.
Innersprings, foam, air beds, latex, memory foam, or adjustable beds, no one beats our price, quality, service, or selection.
We challenge any dealer, anytime.
If we can't beat any price on any comparable mattress, then the mattress is free.
It's not too late to sleep like a baby. Mattress World.
Come visit our brand new store conveniently located at 18th and Burnside, just north of PGE Park.
John, we have the new high speed. It's way faster than DSL. Show 'em. It's a pagoda.
Tell me you have more.
Sheryl Crow on her breast cancer and her breakup with Lance Armstrong. Larry King, 9 Eastern.
Things are changing by the moment in the Middle East crisis. Let's get up to speed with what we know right now. In the northern Israeli city of Haifa, several suspected Hezbollah rockets have hit over the last few hours. Our correspondent on the scene reports that a rocket struck a residential building. Israel is continuing its attacks against Hezbollah. Israeli bombs targeted a port in Beirut, and army barracks and areas in Beirut's southern suburbs were also hit. As the conflict intensifies, several countries, including the U.S., are evacuating their citizens from Lebanon. President Bush heads back home as the talks wrap up at the G8 summit in Russia. Diplomacy was the watchword, but a 4-letter word is grabbing the headlines. Our White House correspondent Ed Henry has details on that.
The Mideast crisis dominated the agenda here at the G8 summit in St. Petersburg right up until the final moments. An open microphone capturing a rather dramatic and colorful exchange between President Bush and British Prime Minister Tony Blair that really highlights the tensions among world leaders about the way forward in the Mideast, that really stands in sharp contrast to the united front that was publicly presented by the G8 leaders in their joint statement on the Mideast Sunday. What happened first this morning is Mr. Blair met with UN Secretary General Kofi Annan and then afterwards met with reporters, and they jointly called for an international stabilization force to head to Israel to end the violence. But such a force might require a ceasefire, which is controversial because President Bush has not supported one on the grounds that the administration does not believe Hezbollah would follow it. So after the meeting with Mr. Annan, Mr. Blair then went to a lunch with President Bush and the other G8 leaders. And the president expressed real frustration that the UN should be doing more to pressure Syrian President Assad to get control of Hezbollah. I want to be clear, the leaders knew this was a photo opportunity. There was a microphone on the table. Tony Blair eventually turned the microphone off, but not before it recorded this.
What about Kofi? That seems all right. I don't like the sequence of it. His attitude is basically ceasefire and everything that's happened. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I think the only thing I think is really difficult is we can't stop this unless you get this international business agreed. Now, I don't mean what you guys have talked about Israel, but as I say, I am perfectly happy to try to see what the lie of the land is, but you need that done quickly, because otherwise this will spiral.
I think Connie's going to go pretty soon.
Right, well that's all that matters. But if you see, it'll take some time to get that together.
Yeah.
But at least it gives people
There's some process, I agree.
at which you. And
I
then-
told her your offer too.
Well, it's only if it's, I mean, if she's got or if she needs the ground prepared, as it were. Because obviously if she goes out, she's got to succeed, as it were, whereas I can go out and just talk.
See, the irony is that what they need to do is get Syria to get Hezbollah to stop doing this shit, and it's over.
Syria.
Why?
Because I think this is all part of the same thing.
Yeah.
Look, what does he think? He thinks if Lebanon turns out fine, if you get a solution in Israel, Palestine, Iraq goes in the right way.
Yeah, he's through.
He's had it. And that's what this whole thing's about. It's the same with Iran.
I felt like telling Kobe to call get on the phone with Assad and make something happen.
Yeah.
We don't blame Israel. And we're not blaming the Lebanese government.
We played this tape for a White House spokesman who said the president's words speak for themselves. The White House not offering any further comment. The key exchange, of course, being the president in rather explicit terms saying that basically he believes the UN needs to do more to get Syria, to get Hezbollah, to stop the violence, and then this will be over. Also, what should not be lost in this exchange is the fact that the president confirms what we've been hearing for days here at the summit, that he's planning to send U.S. Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice to the Mideast to try and help defuse the situation and end the violence. Ed Henry, CNN, with the president at the summit in St. Petersburg.
Well, you heard the president make reference to the United Nations. Let's find out what is or not going on there and checking with our senior UN correspondent, Richard Roth. Richard, hello.
Hello, Darren. They don't like open microphones here at the United Nations, and they haven't really had a comment yet about President Bush and those words he said about Kofi Annan and the sequencing. Kofi Annan saying at the G8 meeting that there should be an immediate cessation of hostilities. The United States ambassador here to the UN, John Bolton, is aware that there's been a call for that, but he also has been backing Israel here. John Bolton was also asked by journalists about Tony Blair and Kofi Annan's thoughts that a stabilization force was needed for the region.
Considering the possibility of such a force, and I think as we consider that possibility, we'd have to think of several questions. Three broad areas come to mind. First, would such a force be empowered to deal with the real problem? The real problem is Hezbollah. Would such a force be empowered to disarm and demobilize Hezbollah armed components? Would it be empowered to deal with the countries like Syria and Iran that support Hezbollah? What exactly would be the extent of the mandate to deal with the military threat posed by Hezbollah?
Kofi Annan has also said you need to give time and space and work for diplomacy to work. The United Nations Security Council is now going to be hearing a briefing from senior United Nations political and peacekeeping officials. Earlier, Ambassador Bolton met with his British and French counterparts. The ambassadors met briefly over the weekend Saturday for an update on the briefing, but took no action at that point. Darren.
So, Richard, it sounds when we heard the U.S. Ambassador John Bolton's comments earlier, right before the Security Council meeting, like they're kind of standing by, waiting for this team to get back from the region before they do anything.
That's correct. The 15 countries always like to get an in-person briefing, even if it's a developing situation on the ground, and the three-person led mission on the Middle East may be back later this week. Vijay Nambiar, the Secretary General's lead representative there, thought that he would be going back to Israel with some messages, but he also said this may take some time.
Richard Roth, live at the UN. Richard, thank you. Troubling developments on another front this morning. North Korea snubbing the UN and calling sanctions of its missile program a prelude to a renewed war. World leaders at the G8 summit this morning joined the Security Council's call for North Korea to abandon its nuclear weapons program. An angry North Korea says it's not bound by a Security Council resolution passed this weekend and instead vows to bolster its arsenal. Still ahead on CNN Live today, we are watching developments as they are created throughout the Mideast. Also, what is happening with the markets, the oil market and the stock market, and the influence of the Mideast on those. You'll see more of that. You're watching CNN, the most trusted name in news.
Tonight on AC360.
This is a bomb shelter underneath one of the hotels.
Anderson Cooper's live on the front lines of the crisis in the Middle East. Every angle from Haifa, Beirut, and across the troubled region as casualties and fears of a wider war grow. 360, CNN Tonight, 10 Eastern.
The Home Depot is giving you a good reason to decorate your ceiling.
The third one's perfect.
I love that one too.
Right now, save 20% off select ceiling fans and lighting. With so many styles from brands like Hampton Bay and Hunter, you're sure to find the perfect accent for your room. Only at the Home Depot.
You can do it. We can help.
Vacuum manufacturers want you to believe that dust and the mold spores it contains stops here, at the filter. But in attempting to improve suction, some vacuums use filters with bigger holes. So dust ends up back where you don't want it, in your house.
Why are American middle-class workers working longer and harder than Europeans? Why does it take two incomes for a middle-class family just to get by? It's time to put our middle class first.
Lou Dobbs tonight, CNN 6 Eastern.
It's time for answers.
Tonight on AC360, Anderson Cooper's live on the front lines of the crisis in the Middle East. Every angle from Haifa, Beirut, and across the troubled region as casualties and fears of a wider war grow. 360, tonight, 10 Eastern.
Announcing the Subaru all-wheel deal model year clearance. There's never been a better time to buy the Subaru Outback and Forester. Right now, get an Outback 2.5i with amazing 0% APR financing and $2,000 cash back. The all-wheel drive Outback and Forester. Both are great alternatives to gas-guzzling SUVs, and they have a 5-star crash test rating.
Every day is a winding road.
Hurry with 0% financing and $2,000 cash back. Supplies won't last.
We've been to Cape Cod, Jersey Shore, East Coast Beach Tour,
Bloomington, Huntington, family reunion.
Ghost Town, Old West, getting a load of mom's dress.
Florida, kissing me, polka dot bikini.
Comfort Inn, Breakfast Street, finally, it's not a me.
Mountains we'll roam, don't feel like going home.
I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere.
To get 3 free nights at these Choice Hotels, get the no annual fee Choice Privileges Visa credit card. For reservations and more details, visit choicehotels.com. Choice Hotels. We'll see you there.
People always ask insurance guys, when can I get my car back? Well, a lot faster with this Sprint Mobile broadband card. I can instantly download customer data, file the claim, and handle more customers per day.
Do more with Sprint Mobile Broadband.
So when can I get my car back? Well,
Sprint Business makes just about any place a workplace. Get a card for $49.99 with an unlimited data access plan after mail-in rebate. Visit sprint.com/business.
Stock Market Update, brought to you by Sprint Business. Sprint Business, yes you can. And by Quality Inn, featuring Quality Sleeper by Serta Mattresses. Wake up call recommended.
Markets have been open, getting close to an hour, and it looks like they're doing a little effort to try to recover from last week's big sell-off. You can see the Dow is up a bit, although it just lost half of its gains there. It's up 5 points there, and NASDAQ is up just a little bit as well. It is up a single point. Well, the markets might not be hot, but there is plenty of hot stuff out there. Temperatures across the nation expected to soar today. The Northeast will be downright broiling. According to the National Weather Service, Philadelphia and much of New Jersey will see temperatures near 100 degrees, and the increased humidity will make it feel more like 103 or hotter. That's what Chad Myers is focusing on. Chad?
Remember what I used to feel like in monsoon season there in Arizona?
I do.
Yeah, well, monsoon is back for Phoenix, by the way.
It's a little early, isn't it?
It is, but humidities are way up, showers are up, 86 right now. I'm just going to do a quick pop over to your radar, and you can see a couple of showers now, not that far from Winslow, near some of the burn areas, and you may have heard a couple of warnings about that. If these showers get very close to the burn areas or right over them for a while, you could actually see some flooding or some mudslides. But anyway, let's get back to the East Coast here. The temperatures are actually warmer in New York City, warmer at LaGuardia than it is in Phoenix right now. In fact, warmer than any other spot on the map except Minneapolis? Oh, this is so bad. This is so wrong. The heat is to the north. It's cooler to the south. It may be 5, 6, 7 degrees cooler in Atlanta today than New York City. Right now, 87 at Central Park, and the heat index is way above that. 99 the temperature today for the high, but it feels much warmer. And all the temperatures you see on the map are forecast for temperatures in the shade. If you are in the sun, you are 10 or 15 degrees warmer than that, so make sure you have plenty of water today. Today's a day to take care of the pets and the kids as well, because if you got a pet that's out there in a non-shaded yard, he's 15 or she's 15 degrees warmer, so get them into some shade, make sure they have plenty of water. This is going to be a brutal day on a furry pet. Think about wearing a fur coat today. That's what they're doing. 97 in New York, 100 in Washington, D.C., 93 in Atlanta. There's your cooler air. Come down to Atlanta. It's cooler. Warm air goes back up through the middle plains, scattered showers and storms through the northeast. Tomorrow is still warm in the northeast, but Wednesday is 10 degrees cooler. Derek.
All right, Chad, thank you. Well, the forecast calls for rain in Southern California, but despite the vast, hungry wildfires there, the storms could actually be a mixed blessing. Fire crews are hoping for enough rain to dampen the blazes that have scorched more than 82,000 acres. But too much rain could cause flash flooding in the Barron area, and lightning could spark more fires. The Sawtooth and Millard fires have destroyed at least 58 homes and caused damage estimated at more than $8 million. As we get close to the half hour, let's tell you what we know right now about what's happening in the Middle East. The nearly week-long fighting taking some ominous new turns. More blistering attacks today in both Israel and Lebanon. Hezbollah is believed to have fired a barrage of rockets at northern Israel, hitting targets in Haifa and several other cities. In Lebanon, Israeli warplanes are still on attack. A short time ago, they unleashed more blistering missile strikes. Among the targets, Beirut's port. And amid the fighting, new calls for the deployment of international forces to the region. That plan put forth by British Prime Minister Tony Blair and UN Secretary General Kofi Annan. Our Paula Newton is with us. She is in Jerusalem with the latest from there. Paula.
Darren, already, unfortunately, the Israeli government says it's premature to talk about an international force there, and they take issue with something called UNIFIL, which is a UN force that's already in southern Lebanon, which is supposed to be doing some of the heavy lifting when it came to getting Hezbollah out of southern Lebanon already. They've been there for 6 years and have 2,000 soldiers. So at this point, Israel is saying we're willing to talk, we'll hear ideas, but it doesn't look like any kind of diplomatic breakthrough is imminent. Darren?
What about word of Israeli troops along the Lebanese border? There was some word that they crossed in briefly, but what about really going in and having a significant presence?
Yeah, just to clarify that, Darren, what happens is on these overnight raids, special forces do go in. They did say that they went in last night and they tried to clear out some Hezbollah posts. In the future, the Israelis certainly want to see some type of a half-mile security zone or buffer zone kept along that border. It is unclear exactly when they want to go in there to do that and how long they will stay. And then this is the part that gets tricky. At some point, if they want to maintain that buffer zone, they'll then have to hand it over to a multinational force. All of that is being worked out right now. And certainly the Israeli forces say they want to go in gingerly to that southern area because they still do believe that Hezbollah has quite a few strongholds along that border area.
Paula, thank you. We continue to watch events in the Middle East. We're going to have more live reports from all around the region coming up next. Also from the world of science and politics, a showdown over stem cell research. A Senate vote could be setting the stage for President Bush's first veto. The story ahead on CNN, the most trusted name in news.
As you can see on my chart here, sales have exceeded...
What is that? Small business owner. They come in looking for loans. But we only care about big business.
Quarter. Our cash... Whoa. Our cash...
They normally catch on fire like that? Yeah, let's get some lunch.
Does your bank think small about your small business? Call Capital One instead for no-hassle business loans, lines of credit, and credit cards.
Hello, Capital One.
What's in your wallet? Oh, I want a loan. I want a loan.
The Audi Q7, the SUV from the creator of Quattro.
Dr. Robert Jarvik, inventor of the artificial heart.
The average heart beats 2 billion times. The heart is amazing, but high cholesterol can lead to heart disease. Lipitor can help. When diet and exercise aren't enough, adding Lipitor significantly lowers bad cholesterol, 39 to 60%. If you have several common risk factors for heart disease, Lipitor is clinically proven to reduce your risk of heart attack. And more cardiologists surveyed said they'd prescribe Lipitor for their own families than any other cholesterol-lowering brand. Lipitor is not for everyone, including people with liver problems and women who are nursing, pregnant, or may become pregnant. You need simple blood tests to check for liver problems. Tell your doctor if you are taking other medications or if you have any muscle pain or weakness. They may be a sign of a rare but serious side effect. Lipitor is one of many treatment options to consider with your doctor. It's your heart. Ask if Lipitor is right for you.
Visit Lipitor.com for a free trial.
Look, here's the deal. When you talk about Geico.com, you want to communicate 3 things. Easy to use, no middleman, could save you hundreds on car insurance. Other than that, just sort of be personable, yeah? The old nice weather, innit? Cup of tea? That'd be lovely. How's your mum? Cheers. I'll stick with the small talk, mate. Theatrics might come across as a bit cheesy.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
On Headline News Prime, we don't fake passion.
Can't we celebrate honest questioning?
Or hide our personality.
You are in contempt.
Glenn Beck, Nancy Grace, passion, personality, and a point of view. Headline News Prime tonight.
Closed captioning provided by Head On. Head On applied directly to the forehead.
Looking at live pictures from Lebanon right now, this caravan of cars includes the French Foreign Minister Dominique de Villepin and other French officials arriving there to meet with members of the Lebanese government, perhaps to see if there can be some resolution to this crisis between Lebanon, Hezbollah, and Israel. More on that ahead from Beirut. Right now, let's focus on Cyprus, taking in many of the evacuees who are trying to leave Lebanon. That's where we find our Chris Burns. Chris.
Darren, there's an Italian naval ship that's supposed to be mooring here at the port of Larnaca in the next few hours. A French one arriving in about, say, midnight tonight. The French ship with about 1,300 evacuees, the Italian with about 400. Some of those people on these ships could be actually Americans, some officials are saying. Otherwise, the American evacuations have been aboard helicopters over the last couple of days. And that is what is actually holding things up, is that they're just helicopters that are moving these people. Priority cases, these are elderly, these are ill people, these are children who are not accompanied by parents, parents just want to get them out of there. These are priority cases, just a few dozen of them. We did hear from U.S. officials over the last 24 hours. They are organizing what they call an orderly and secure evacuation, but it's going to take at least another day or two. They do plan on doing this by ship over here to Larnaca and then flying them out. But that process is taking time, and these Americans are having to wait and stay put for the time being. We did talk to one who made it through, among other students, through an international, a private company, a harrowing experience racing through the streets of Beirut, trying to make it to this evacuation point. Explosions going off just a couple hundred yards away as he went into his apartment to try to get his things out. The elevator was shaking and rattling from the explosions, though he is, of course, very grateful to be here, finally safe and sound. Back to you.
Hey, Chris, have the Cypriots said how many people, how many Americans they are willing or able to take in?
The Cypriots are wide open to taking in as many as they need, as many as people have to come here. They've done this many times before in recent conflicts and previous conflicts. This is a byway for that. It's only a half-hour flight from Lebanon. It's just a few hours by boat. It is believed a few thousand Americans could be evacuated over here and moved, as U.S. officials say, through commercial and through charter flights. That is what they plan on doing once they arrive here.
Chris Burns, live from Larnaca in Cyprus. Thank you. Now, some of the evacuees that are fleeing Lebanon are going towards Syria, to Damascus. That's where we find our Anish Rahman.
It is for many the only way out. Crossing from Lebanon to Syria, young and old, they are fleeing the violence. Wael and his wife Nicola left to keep their 1-year-old daughter Thala alive.
Bombs are all over the place. Beside my house there was a bomb just about 500 meters.
Many Lebanese here, like Ali, who spent hours going through immigration, saw the bomb start to fall too close. I carried 5 people to the hospital myself, he says, after a bomb exploded just near to me. They were civilians who were hit, women and children. I saw it with my own eyes. It was terrible. The majority here are poor Syrians, workers in Lebanon. This group carried everything they had on their heads and walked home. We left our lives there behind, the 65-year-old woman told me. I just want to live. If I die, I want to die here in Syria. Officials here estimate that hundreds of thousands of people have made their way through this border crossing over the past few days. They say it has never been so busy, each person carrying with them stories of the violence taking place within Lebanon. Understandably, the road into Lebanon was virtually empty, except for a few Lebanese. This man lives in Saudi Arabia.
My home, my land, my family. From everything, I am come to Lebanon.
Everyone here supports Hezbollah?
Yes.
It wasn't just them. Literally everyone we met here supported Hezbollah. They say the Israeli attacks will only strengthen that allegiance, but no one took joy in what is taking place.
Hezbollah, they are bombing Hezbollah. There's no problem. It's between them, and it is a problem, but it's between them. But when they kill kids, thanks God my kids are here now, but many kids there.
For Lebanese here, like Wael and his family, the hours ahead are riddled with uncertainty. They don't know when they'll return home, and they don't know whether the safe haven they found in Syria will soon become the next front in this escalating war.
And let's join Anish Rahman live now in Syria. The mood there, I imagine, as we can hear from your piece, both a mixture of fear, but also there are some welcome arms as they have some people coming in across the border from Lebanon.
The Syrian government has relaxed visas for people to be able to come in there, and expatriate Arabs, Kuwaitis, Saudis who are in Lebanon have come. The Lebanese who come here tend to be self-selected, coming to a country that has such an intense history with Lebanon, also a country that has such intense ties with Hezbollah. Syria really is dealing with 2 issues. One is the influx of these people exiting from Lebanon. The second is the international microscope being put upon that relationship and the support within this country for Hezbollah. Today, a few thousand people took to the streets in the capital, Damascus, in support of Hezbollah. The government, though, keen amid this crisis to downplay the connection, say they support Hezbollah, but they are not dictating Hezbollah's actions. Darren?
Anish Rahman live from Syria, thank you. Still ahead, we're going to have more coverage of what's happening in the Middle East, including a discussion on what, and if anything, should the U.S. be doing to help bring more peaceful times to that region. You're watching CNN, the most trusted name in news.
Hear that? That's the sound of people without contact to the outside world. Imagine if we all took the time to listen.
Tonight at 8, millions of defective tires recalled, but some are still on the road today. Is your spare tire a time bomb? A potentially deadly oversight you need to know about tonight, 8 Eastern.
Tonight on AC360, Anderson Cooper's live on the front lines of the crisis in the Middle East. Every angle from Haifa, Beirut, and across the troubled region as casualties and fears of a wider war grow. 360, tonight, 10 Eastern.
Ditech.com can save you thousands of dollars in closing costs.
With our previous refinances, we ended up paying a lot in closing costs. This time, we went to Ditech, and it was only $395.
Log on or call 1-800-71-FIXED.
At Johnson & Johnson, we understand the importance of touch. A nurse's touch is skilled. A nurse's touch is caring. A nurse's touch can touch the world. Nurses, we need you more than ever. A message of caring from Johnson & Johnson.
Welcome to the Future is sponsored by Johnson & Johnson. At Johnson & Johnson, we believe nursing is the essence of caring. Log on to cnn.com/future for more on the reality of what the future may hold.
When the commercial comes on, I usually get up and go. I'm out of the room. Commercials to me are a nuisance. If I have 20 minutes to watch something, I don't want to watch 10 minutes of commercial. The advertisers need to think way outside of the box. Get to the point. Tell me what's going to benefit me. Make it interesting. Make it exciting. The advertisers that give you something new, something you haven't seen before, those are the commercials that I want to watch.
But it's going to take some big changes to keep us tuned in. More and more of us are using digital video recorders, time-shifting our programs, and then fast-forwarding through the commercials. There'll be 30 million DVRs in use in another year in the U.S. So what's an advertiser to do to slow us down? Peter Kim of Forrester Research says instead of fighting new technology, advertisers are working in tandem with it, like inserting promotional codes good for discounts or deals that flash on the screen, giving viewers incentive to watch very carefully. But many marketers believe product placement or branded entertainment,
I want the iPod,
may be the wave of the future.
Putting products in the context of a show and integrating it within the fabric of the content rather than being separate in commercial breaks.
Soon, advertisers may also be able to tailor commercials to consumers, specifically targeting a geographic location.
We see technologies being developed that target consumers based on their zip code and eventually the home. Advertisers will be able to deliver offers that they feel are most relevant to that demographic. And the future of advertising is really building deeper relationships rather than taking a mass media approach.
More families across America have chosen Singular Family Talk on the network with the fewest dropped calls of any wireless carrier. Singular Family Talk. Add a line for just $9.99. Plus, buy a new Samsung camera phone and get another one free. Singular, raising the bar.
Ergonomic desk chairs? I watched their backs. $650. Office pet?
/ watchdog.
$100. Laptops instead of desktops?
Big ideas don't only come between 9 and 5.
$999 each. Running your business your way. No questions asked.
Nice.
Priceless. MasterCard Business Card even lets you choose your payment date because you're the boss.
Stock Market Update is brought to you by MasterCard. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard.
We're at the quarter hour. Let's take a look at what we know right now. The nearly week-long fighting taking some ominous new turns in the Middle East. More blistering attacks today in both Israel and Lebanon. Hezbollah is believed to have fired a barrage of rockets at northern Israel, hitting targets in Haifa and several other cities. In Lebanon, Israeli warplanes are still on the attack. A short time ago, they unleashed more blistering missile strikes. Among the targets, Beirut's port. And amid the fighting, new calls for the deployment of international forces to the region. That plan put forth by British Prime Minister Tony Blair and United Nations Secretary General Kofi Annan. Well, as we were watching last week, oil prices had a violent reaction to the situation in the Middle East. Let's go to Susan Lesovich at the New York Stock Exchange for a check on what the markets are doing today. Hello, Susan.
Hello, Darren. Well, I'm happy to tell you that oil prices are backing down from Friday's record high of just above $77 a barrel. Right now, crude is trading down 88 cents at $76.15. And obviously, the direction hinges on developments in the Middle East. The oil market extremely volatile. One oil trader I spoke to this morning said crude prices could jump $10 either way depending on what happens in the conflict there. Both the trader I spoke to, and an oil analyst I also spoke to, said the fact that the situation with Iran did not get worse over the weekend is particularly helpful to stabilizing the oil market. That oil analyst also, by the way, Darren from Standard & Poor's, said that worst case scenario, that is with Iran, whether Iran used oil as a weapon or the military conflict involved Iran, she said that she could see oil going up to $95 a barrel. She says it's unlikely, but that's what we're talking about if Iran got involved. Back to you.
Let's focus on stocks, Susan, because last week was just absolutely brutal, the worst week of the year. How does a fresh start on Monday morning look?
You know, it's not very reassuring. First of all, you'd think after 3 days of triple-digit declines that you'd see some buying on the dip. Well, we had a little bit of nibbling. It was short-lived. Stocks have actually turned lower in the past few minutes, and this is an anxious time. I mean, it bears repeating. We're starting to hear from corporate America on its quarterly profits. Well, they get affected too by higher interest rates and higher energy prices. Last week, just so you know, that the Dow tumbled 351 points, down more than 3%. The NASDAQ was off 4.5%. Let's take a look at the big board just to see what's happening right now. The Dow is down just slightly, off 3 points. The NASDAQ's down about 5 points. We do have some good news out there. GM shares, that's a Dow 30 stock, up 2.5%. Its chief executive, Rick Wagner, and Carlos Ghosn, the head of Nissan and Renault, agreed to a 90-day study of a three-way alliance among the companies. GM's board is expected to meet later today. But we've got a lot of action. This is, you know, not the dog days of summer by any stretch on Wall Street. Not only we're hearing from corporate America, we get inflation reports both tomorrow and Wednesday, Darren. That's very important at this time, obviously, with oil prices. And we also hear from Ben Bernanke on Wednesday. So a very busy week, not only looking at what's happened in the Middle East, but that as well. Back to you.
All right, Susan, thank you. We're going to have much more from the Mideast straight ahead. Also, the shuttle has landed safely. More on that coming up with Miles O'Brien. You're watching CNN, the most trusted name in news.
Tonight at 8, millions of defective tires recalled, but some are still on the road today. Is your spare tire a time bomb? A potentially deadly oversight you need to know about tonight, 8 Eastern.
Purell users see the world differently. They don't see germy bathrooms. They just carry Purell. It kills 99.99% of germs. So look around. The world is cleaner than you think. Purell. Imagine a touchable world.
Do you have an adjustable rate mortgage? How much has your monthly payment gone up? Do you have credit card debt? Get a new low fixed rate home loan with one low monthly payment, even if you have a credit problem. Log on or call 1-800-71-FIXED.
Tonight at 8, millions of defective tires recalled, but some are still on the road today. Is your spare tire a time bomb?
Hi, it's John for Dick Hanna and the giant Vancouver Auto Mall with the largest new and mechanic-certified pre-owned inventory of cars and trucks in the state of Washington. The future of auto buying is here in this single state-of-the-art standalone auto mall. From Portland, we're just a bridge away, but people come from Seattle to Salem saying, wow, I never knew. Thousands of Dick Hanna new and mechanic-certified pre-owned cars and trucks in one location, just a bridge away at the new auto mall concept where our goal is to simply sell for less.
Call today for the Gold Delta Sky Miles credit card from American Express and start earning double miles in more places more often. Apply now and get 17,500 bonus miles right away. With award tickets starting at just 25,000 miles, you can fly free sooner. Plus, the card is fee-free the first year. Call 1-800-SKY-MILES. Call now for the Gold Delta Sky Miles credit card and earn 2 miles for every eligible dollar you spend for even faster travel awards on Delta and 18 airline partners. Take advantage of this great offer today and get 17,500 miles closer to a free trip. Plus, enjoy the card fee-free the first year. Call 1-800-SKY-MILES now.
Hi, I'm the person who didn't save hundreds of dollars by switching car insurance.
Yep, I'm the guy. Must be, because every day they tell me about a bazillion people who switched on TV, radio, billboards.
They show me entire stadiums worth of people who switched.
But Progressive Direct shows you side-by-side comparisons of competitors' rates and services, so you can see if their services are worth the savings. Those gazillion people should call Progressive, because no one likes to be wrong. Think easier. Think Progressive.
CNN, the most trusted name in news.
That's a pretty picture on time and picture perfect. These pictures taken of the Space Shuttle Discovery as it landed in Florida this morning, a little after 9 Eastern. Let's go to our space correspondent, Miles O'Brien, for a look at that. Miles?
Hello, Darren. You know, one of the what the traditional thing for a crew to do after they've had a journey like this, an epic journey of more than 5 million miles, is to, once they get their suits off and get themselves a little acclimated to gravity, is to walk around the orbiter and more or less kick the tires. Actually, they don't really kick the tires. They're under high pressure, and that's not a good idea. So, but nevertheless, they take a look at this amazing vehicle. And that's everybody in a navy blue suit there, just about everybody there in a navy blue suit, is a crew member. 6 of them now. Remember, they went up with 7. They came back with 6 because they left one guy behind. Don't worry, that was on purpose. Thomas Reiter, a German astronaut who spent 6 months on the International Space Station. Let's bring in somebody who's been through this whole process, this ritual. Eileen Collins, former shuttle commander. A year ago, she was there in her blue suit doing the same thing. Eileen, what's going through their mind right now as they, take a look at this vehicle now in its 32nd flight? And you can see as you look at close-ups there, it's kind of dinged up and, it's been through the fires, quite literally. What's it like seeing it?
Well, this is a very exciting time for the crew. Of course, they've made it back safely. They had a really successful mission. Right now, they're talking to managers and some of the workers, the technicians at Kennedy Space Center that put Discovery together and got it ready to fly. It's just a very uplifting time. But keep in mind also that their bodies are readapting to being in gravity again. And you're putting one foot in front of the other. You almost feel like you're a 1-year-old toddler who is learning how to walk for the first time.
Yeah, let's try to see if we can identify some of the people there. There's the pilot, Mark Kelly, there. I'm trying to see if I can get everybody here. It's hard for me to see where I am right now. We're not getting great views this moment. Tell you what, let's go back and walk people through that landing. We had some great views. Oh, there's the commander, Steve Lindsay,
yes.
Right where I put the number 1 there.
Yes, Steve Lindsay in the middle with Mike Griffin, the NASA administrator, with his back to us.
Yeah, we got to make him number 1. That's probably in his contract, so he is the administrator, right? And so anyway, they successfully brought this mission to a close. And I think you're probably seeing right there, that is probably a little bit of Lisa Nowak there. I think she's having a conversation with Mike Griffin, getting some kudos from them. Is that Mike Fossum there? I think it is.
That's right.
Yeah. In any case, let's show folks the landing, and the head-up display view was fantastic. If we could back up just a little bit to show that head-up display, it'd be a little more fun to show, Joe. I don't know if we can do that. This is a great shot, and they did just what they should. They landed right on the center line, the drag chute deployed, all that good stuff. And basically what we're seeing here, Eileen, is some would say that the shuttle program can consider itself back in business, maybe with a little asterisk in the sense that they're looking at things a lot more closely than they did pre-Columbia, but back in business and can start thinking about building out that space station.
Well, I think the key thing is there were no major problems on this flight. There were some minor things that will have to be worked on, but right now NASA is on track to fly again at the end of August or early September, and then fly another mission in December as part of a total of 15 more flights to get the International Space Station built by the end of the decade.
All right, do we have that shot with the head-up display or not? I'm talking to the... No, apparently we don't. So imagine, if you will, a shuttle coming in, right lined up perfectly, Steve Lindsay doing the job well. I got to say, Eileen, it's... and there they are as they walked out of the crew transport vehicle. And they look good. They look fit. I mean, they have about an hour or so to kind of get off that hot, heavy suit, which has, a rubber, interior and all. And so there's Lisa Nowak, there's Mike Fossum, Mark Kelly behind Steve Lindsay. And the last thing you want to do after flying in space for 13 days and 5 million miles is meet a receiving line, Eileen, right? I mean, and that's what you got to do, right?
Well, I think the difference here is the receiving line. There are people that there are people that basically had your life in their hands, that made the decisions before the flight and during the flight, people you work with very closely, and it's really a good uplifting time to see them. And it's a good idea to grab a hold of a steady hand, because the astronauts are a little bit wobbly after they come back from space. It takes a while to get your Earth legs back.
All right, there's Stephanie Wilson, there's Piers Sellers, just grabbing on, hanging on for dear life there as they meet Mike Griffin and receive the accolades of the NASA managers there. Obviously relieved. We're going to hear from Mike Griffin in about 3 minutes. Some of the NASA managers will keep you posted throughout the day as NASA starts thinking about the next flight already. And this time last year, as we know, there was a big delay that lay ahead. Eileen Collins, former shuttle commander, always a pleasure. Thanks for talking the shuttle down for us.
Okay, thank you. It's been great to be with you this morning.
All right, Darren.
Miles, thank you. We're going to get back to what's happening in the Middle East just ahead, including talking with our guest about what the U.S. should be doing to stop the escalating violence in the Mideast. Also, the Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Olmert will be speaking before the Knesset in Israel, in Jerusalem, and we will listen into that. That's all coming up just ahead. You're watching CNN, the most trusted name in news.
This is one way to find out what your home is worth. Or simply go to housevalues.com. Find out what your home is worth free at housevalues.com. For your free home value report, go to housevalues.com.
Lincoln Mercury has some of America's hottest selling new models. And to celebrate, every 2006 Mercury car, SUV, and minivan has the hottest deals of the summer during the Lincoln Mercury Celebration Clearance. Get the 32 MPG Milan, winner of the Best Midsize Car Award.